This morning, you made a choice. Maybe it was coffee or tea. It felt like you. An act of will that belonged to no one else. But what if it wasn't yours at all? What if the real answer is far stranger than free will or fate? What if the choice was already finished before you ever felt yourself making it? You carry a feeling with you every waking moment, unnoticed. The feeling of being the one in charge, the author, the driver. When your hand reaches for your phone, it feels like you sent it. Scientists call this the sense of agency. And here is the unsettling thing. That feeling can be wrong. In the 1980s, a scientist named Benjamin Libet gave people a task so simple it sounds like nothing. Flick your wrist whenever you feel the urge. He measured the electricity in their brains and gave them a fast clock to mark the instant they decided to move. You would expect a clean order. First, you decide. Then your brain fires. Then your wrist moves. That is how it feels from the inside. That is not what he found. The brain fired first. A wave of activity he called the readiness potential rose up before people felt any urge to move at all. The action was already loading. And only afterward did the feeling of choosing arrive, like a passenger who steps onto a moving train and convinces himself he is driving it. People argued about the timing for decades, so the question got handed to better machines. In 2008, a neuroscientist named John Haynes put people in a scanner and asked them to press a left or right button whenever they chose. Then he tried to predict the choice from the scans alone. He could, seconds early. In some cases, the brain gave away the choice up to 7 seconds before the person felt they had decided. The answer was already in the tissue, long before it reached awareness. Imagine that. A machine knows your free choice before you do. So what is that warm certainty that you are the one choosing? A psychologist named Daniel Wegner spent his life on that question and gave a blunt answer. He called conscious will an illusion, not a lie, a construction. Your mind notices a thought of acting, then notices the action, and stitches them together into a story. I thought it, so I caused it. The sense of authorship is assembled after the fact to explain a body that was already moving. So is someone else pulling your strings? No, there is no puppeteer. That is what makes this so strange. The thing choosing is still you. Your brain, shaped by your genes, the sleep you missed, a sentence someone said 9 years ago that you have forgotten. All of it loaded into one machine. The machine runs. Out comes a choice. And a beat later, a voice lights up and says, "That was me, I decided that." You are not the author of the decision. You are the narrator. You arrive a moment late and take the credit. Here is where it turns. If this is true, it should feel like a cage. And for a moment, maybe it does. But look at what it actually changes, and something softer appears. Think of the last time you were furious at yourself. The promise broken at midnight. You blamed yourself as if a wiser version of you had been standing there in full control and chose to fail. But there was no separate you. There was one brain in that exact state, carrying that exact history, meeting that exact moment. The outcome was already leaning. That is not an excuse. It is the quiet end of a war you have been fighting against yourself. Now turn the same lens outward. The driver who cut you off. The stranger who was cruel for no reason you could see. You assumed they chose it freely, that they could simply have been better. But they were also a brain in a state, carrying a history you know nothing about. A chain of causes, reaching back before they were born. This does not mean nothing matters. Societies still need consequences. But the certainty that they could have effortlessly been different begins to cool. and in its place is something that looks like mercy. So where does this leave the choice you made this morning? Maybe the freedom was never in the instant of deciding. That part is mostly theater. But you are not only that instant, you are the whole long machine. And a machine can be changed. The books you read and the people you sit near change it. The habits you repeat slowly rewrite the brain that will make tomorrow's choices. You cannot choose your next thought, but over years you can shape the mind those thoughts come from. That is a quieter freedom, not a hand on the wheel every second. A gardener tending the soil everything grows from. So tomorrow morning, you will make a choice. It will feel like yours, rising up clean and free. Now you know that feeling arrives a little late, narrating a decision the rest of you already reached. And maybe that is enough. Maybe the most honest freedom you will ever hold is not pretending you wrote the story, but choosing, slowly, what kind of mind gets to tell it.